Welcome to the Chronicles Reports. I am your host, Chronicles. Today, we are not just reporting the news. We are documenting a pivot point in contemporary history. In the early hours of Saturday, March 2026, the global order as we knew it was fundamentally rewritten. This is the story of Operation Epic Fury, a moment where theoretical geopolitical tension transformed into direct kinetic conflict. In this special report, we will analyze how historical grievances and modern strategy intersect, and more importantly, how these distant explosions are impacting your daily life, your wallet, and the future of international politics. Stay with us as we explore the facts, the linguistics, and the deep-rooted historical arguments behind this world-shattering event. To understand the present, we must look at the language used to define it. American President Donald J. Trump announced the commencement of Operation Epic Fury in an unprecedented 8-minute social media broadcast. Let's analyze the linguistic roots of this operation. The term epic invokes a historical scale. It suggests a conflict that will be remembered for generations. Fury, however, signals a sharp departure from the measured, often cautious diplomacy of the past. It is a word of raw emotion and overwhelming force. But look closer at the rhetoric. Trump didn't just address a military. He addressed the great proud people of Iran. By claiming the objective was to eliminate imminent threats while offering the Iranian public a chance for generations to reclaim their government, he was utilizing a synchronized psychological operation. This rhetoric mirrors, yet reverses, the linguistic strategies of the 1979 revolution. While the 1979 movement sought to expel Western influence, today as Western powers are attempting to frame themselves as the liberators of a nation they claim is held hostage by its own Revolutionary Guard. This is a professional, calculated effort to decouple a population from its leadership. Moving to the tactical facts. Strategically, Operation Epic Fury broke every traditional military norm. While most operations utilized the cover of darkness, this campaign began at 8 a.m. local time in Tehran. Why a daytime strike? The reason is clear: to achieve maximum surprise by catching the Iranian defense apparatus completely off guard during their morning shift. This was a decapitation strike strategy. The targets were not broad or random. They were surgical strikes aimed at the very nervous system of the Iranian state. Pastor Street, the secure heart of Tehran, housing the presidency and intelligence leadership. Isfahan, home to critical nuclear complexes. Shiraz, the site of underground missile production facilities. Reports indicate that this initial phase is projected to last 4 days, described as a bombing campaign even more extensive than 2025's Operation Midnight Hammer. We are seeing a historical shift in how modern superpowers engage in regime-level conflict. History teaches us that no action in the Middle East exists in a vacuum. The Iranian response was immediate. Within hours, over 35 ballistic missiles were launched toward Israel. But here's the factual shift that changes the map of the 21st century. Iran targeted American military installations in Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain. By striking the UAE and Qatar, Iran has effectively treated the entire Gulf Cooperation Zone as a combat theater. This forces previously neutral nations into the fire, with the UAE already declaring these strikes a flagrant violation of national sovereignty. Now, let's bring this home. Why does a missile strike in Shiraz matter to you sitting in your living room? The answer lies in the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day, about 25% of global maritime oil trade pass through this narrow waterway. This is where history hits your wallet. If this strait is disrupted, we will see an immediate inflationary shock. This isn't just a political term. It means higher gasoline prices at your local pump, increased costs for groceries and consumer goods due to rising transport fees, a direct impact on the global cost of living. President Trump is taking a massive domestic gamble. He is weighing a long-term geopolitical victory against the potential for domestic fury over rising prices. This is the intersection of modern politics and your daily reality. we must also analyze the shadow play of global alliances. Only 1 week prior to these strikes, Russia, China, and Iran held joint naval drills. It was a display of trilateral unity meant to warn Washington. However, when the bombs began to fall, that partnership proved theatrical. Russia offered only a brief telegram post, and China, a major weapons supplier, remained silent. This illustrates a cold reality of contemporary history. Economic interests with the West often outweigh ideological pacts. China may want a pro-Eastern Iran, but they are not willing to risk their global trade status for the current regime. This is a landmark moment in understanding the limits of the new Eastern Bloc. Finally, let's explore the core argument of this conflict. Is the Iranian regime a wounded animal, vulnerable to internal dissent, or is this a recipe for disaster? Proponents argue that following the January protests, where tens of thousands were killed by their own government, the security forces are ready to fracture. They believe external pressure will allow the Iranian people to rise up. Historical roots suggest a darker path. In Libya and Iraq, the removal of central authority led to power vacuums and sectarian violence. Furthermore, history teaches us to rally around the flag, a fact where external attacks cause a population to unite behind their leaders, even leaders they despise. Is epic fury a path to liberation, or a recipe for a decade of regional chaos? Operation Epic Fury is more than a military campaign. It is a stress test for the 21st century global order. It tests the resilience of our economy, the strength of our alliances, and the very will of the people living through it. One thing is certain. The world we knew on Friday is gone. We will continue to monitor the subsequent Iranian retaliation and the remaining days of this initial phase. I am Chronicles. Stay informed, and thank you for watching the Chronicles Reports.